Hey there, we're Talia and Ophira Edut, identical twins and astrologers. Welcome to AstroTwins Radio, where we bring the stars down to Earth.
Hello, everyone. Talia here from the AstroTwins, and I'm just getting settled back into my place in Seattle. I was on a surprising trip to LA last week with Ophi, and we got to do a really cool project with L.com that we'll be able to tell you about, but very exciting, very glamorous kind of thing that was unexpected. And now I'm back home with a dachshund. My dachshund Lux is sitting behind me on a pillow while I record, and hopefully he won't bark. But we're very happy to see each other. So after a week in Hollywood, and we actually saw the Oscars being set up while we were there, which was fun, I'm now in a hippie dress with a dachshund. Life takes you through so many spaces, but happy to be here with you guys today to tell you about the auspicious week ahead, the beginning of Aries season and astrology New Year. The astrological cycle restarts itself on Tuesday, April 19th, when the sun returns to 0 degrees Aries and resets the tropical zodiac. So who's up for something new? I know I am. So if the week gets off to a little bit of a heavy start and maybe you feel like you're tying up some loose ends, carrying around some heavy emotions, feeling like you need to detox a little bit, so be it. That's okay. It doesn't mean you're going to immediately feel like a new person when the sun moves into Aries for a month on Tuesday. It's there until April 19th. But there is a definite feeling of levity or a new perspective, a novel way of looking at some of the things that have been maybe dragging you down. Aries likes to see opportunity. It's the trailblazer. It's full of innovative solutions. So maybe, where Pisces can be the sign of sacrifice, the martyr, also very imaginative, very creative, but in a sort of a different genre. We're moving from, film noir, very heavy period pieces and dramas of Pisces into Aries, action and adventure, genre that's all about like, okay, I'm gonna go kick some ass and take some names. I'm gonna take that first baby step even towards a new perspective. If all you can do this week is allow yourself to be open to seeing things differently, you're already making strides in the right direction. Can I see this situation from a new perspective? Pisces season can bring a lot of teachable moments, but the lessons don't always crystallize. In fact, sometimes during Pisces season, which has been going on since February 18th, we get dragged down into the abyss so that we can actually see the full perspective. Hey, we need a balanced perspective too, and being overly optimistic is not gonna serve us either. So Pisces season will show you all of it. It'll show you the grit, it'll show you the grime, it'll show you what might happen. It's almost sometimes like the Nine of Swords card in tarot. It can be like the Nightmare card. And Pisces, please don't take this personally. I'm not saying that you are nightmarish and dreary. In fact, some of our favorite earth angels are Pisces. But I do feel that people with Pisces placements are not afraid to go there. They're the best people to cry to. They'll hold that space for your most intense, buried, shameful emotions and allow you the space to be human. So Pisces season could have brought up a lot of things. Now it's time to get out of that spin, that spiral of what if imagination and start moving things in a new, positive, action oriented, regenerative, and genre busting direction. That's what Aries is all about. Maybe there's something no one has ever done before that you want to try. Well, there's no time like the present for that. This does come with a warning flag, though. Or maybe like a hit the gas, people. Hurry on along, because I have to tell you that there are some intense things coming up. One of them is that Mercury is turning retrograde from April 1st to 25th in Aries. So that is going to maybe be some good preventative medicine against people speeding ahead and crashing. So there's a lot of, phobia around Mercury retrograde. I want to caution against that. Mercury retrograde, when Mercury passes the Earth in its orbit 3 to 4 times a year, usually 3, it has the effect of 2 trains passing at different speeds. And whatever Mercury, whatever sign it's in, and Mercury's qualities in general, which are to rule transportation, communication, data, information, our friendships, will kind of go backwards. So with Mercury in Aries, Mercury being the mouthpiece, the communicator, we tend to be a little more hot-headed. Mercury's already in Aries, and the sun is joining it there. So it's in there for a long time, all the way until the middle of May. So when Mercury turns retrograde in Aries, some of those cheeky, sassy things that may have gotten laughs of appreciation and some fist bumps before April 1st could get one canceled or worse. So you're going to want to really be careful about the swagger, tone it down, and also make sure you know what you're talking about. There could be this is not going to be fun for, the presidential election. It can get really nasty. In April, we could see a lot of disinformation swirling around and a lot of fear-based campaigns. You're going to want to guard that. Keep your inner fact checker, right there, and do not believe anything that hasn't been tested or proven. And make sure you're also not sharing those speculative statements, because they could start a literal fire or a war in your social circle. Now, we'll talk more about Mercury retrograde closer to the date. I don't want to spoil Aries season, because we do have until April 1st to really get into this whole new sensation vibe. Okay, now next week, though, eclipse season begins. We did write about this in our 2024 book, that April was probably going to be one of the most intense months of the year, and late March into April. So next Monday, March 25th, starts the first of the 2 eclipses. Eclipses always come in pairs. There will be a new moon and a full moon, or it'll be a full moon first and then a new moon. Now, full moon eclipses are lunar eclipses, and new moon eclipses are solar eclipses. That's how it works. So if you were wondering what the difference was between those two, lunar eclipse is going to happen at night. If it's visible, you're going to see the moon turn blood red as the shadow of the earth crosses over it, with the sun behind the earth. And that's what's happening March 25th in Libra, the annual Libra full moon, which normally would bring up big waves of love, relationship, manifestation, energy, justice. That could happen. We could see that. But eclipses always reveal a shadow. There's always something surprising, something different about them. And so this is, a positive lunar eclipse for peace talks. We have a lot of war going on. We are in a series of Libra Aries eclipses that began in 2023, April 20th, there was a solar eclipse in Aries. And then on October 14th, right around the time that stuff has started really, the escalation of things in the Middle East and all over the place, we had a solar eclipse, the new moon in Libra. So this lunar eclipse on March 25th is kind of um, a culmination point for the October 14th solar eclipse. So we pray that the wars will stop already. The killing, the senseless back and forth slaughtering and civilian destructions they will end. I mean, that's been our prayer all along, but we've been in this war and peace cycle. Now, back to what eclipse season is, as we've been calling it as astrologers. Eclipse seasons are about 2 weeks long. That's the length between a new and full moon, or full and a new moon. So the second eclipse is always going to be, or generally going to be, in the opposite sign of the first one, or close to it. So the second eclipse on April 8th, which of course we'll talk about more as the weeks go by, that one's in Aries, the sign of war. That's a total solar eclipse, a new moon, but also the sign of the transcendent leader. It doesn't necessarily have to translate into war. Glad that this eclipse series is starting with Libra, because that is putting peace at the forefront. Interestingly enough, both Putin and Netanyahu are Libras. So this eclipse, while it isn't at a close degree to their suns, is still affecting them as Libras, and could bring some really important and surprising reckonings. We'll have to see. But this week we're all kind of preparing. You start to feel the energy of eclipses, I'd say, about a month before they start. 2 weeks for sure, the week before. So, if you notice people starting to show some of their truer colors, starting to show that Libra other side. Libra's the sign of the scale. So it's the balancer and the yin and the yang. So we may be seeing people's true colors come out, or other sides, or alter egos, or, maybe it's resentment that they've been holding in behind the Libra politeness, or maybe it's a feeling of injustice. You may feel that in yourself. You may realize, oh my God, I haven't been treated fairly, or I haven't been an advocate for myself. Now, what I don't recommend doing during an eclipse portal is to be reactive and to do anything impulsively. You may wake up to something that needs your attention, but don't just rush full on, especially with Mercury retrograde also overlapping with these eclipses. Give yourself some time to really think things through. It might take until May. It might even take until Jupiter goes into Gemini on May 25th. To allow yourself to process every possibility. But I do think if you're somebody who has a big change to make this year and maybe even putting it off, you're going to start with Aries season this week, feeling that momentum to explore new possibilities. Okay. Big stuff happening. Big stuff. April's going to be a huge month, and we're already getting the preamble to that. Thursday is for lovers, serious lovers, the ones who want to start talking about next steps. Where's this thing going? What are we doing here? Venus, the planet of love, is meeting up with Saturn, the planner, the long-term commitment planet, in Pisces, the most romantic sign. Now, Venus is exalted in Pisces, meaning that Venus is happiest of all the zodiac signs in Pisces. And so we've been enjoying Venus and Pisces already since last week, Monday. But what do we want? Where's this going? Where are things heading? There's no avoiding those talks. And certainly not one day later on Friday when Mars also moves into Pisces all the way until April 30th. So Mars in Pisces, Mars is a counterpoint to Venus, and they'll be spending a little time together still in Pisces for the rest of the month and enjoying each other's company and companionship. Now, Mars can be a little bit of an agitator or a lot of one. Mars is lusty, whereas Pisces is not a very comfortable fit. Pisces tends to be passive, while Mars tends to be aggressive. So make sure that you're not dropping hints instead of being direct about what you want and need in love. There will be now 4 planets in Pisces and a weird mix. We talked about that weird mix last week too, but add Mars to the equation and it gets weirder. So we have Venus and Mars, the planets of love, but Venus being the receptive and Mars the active. And then you have Neptune, which is very dreamy, the ruler of Pisces, kind of joining Venus in this, oh, let's just run away together and not think about any of the details of life. And then you have Saturn, who's kind of strict and wants to structure everything, and Mars wanting to hurry it along. So although you may have those where is this thing going conversation, also be aware of a tendency to either spiral into fantasy or try to rush the timeline because you're worried about what your friends think or trying to fit some kind of cultural mold. This is an opportunity to be the author. We always have opportunities to be the authors of our own lives, but it is Aries season here. So being the author of your love life doesn't mean scripting it according to someone else's fairy tale. It means giving yourself a chance to be fluid and try things on and play with new things. The eclipse in Libra next Monday, March 25th, is probably going to bring some eye-opening information that's going to take time to process. Process. That's my favorite word today because as I'm looking at the planets, there's just going to be waves of, oh my God, I need to do this now. And then it's like we can go through all of the fight, flight, freeze, and the other F that ends with a K, all in the span of an hour or less. So watch yourself, observe yourself. That's always the best way to go through a decision spiral. When you're feeling activated, when your survival instincts are awakened, observe them, don't react to them. Take that time. That's a mastery we're all here to kind of learn in this lifetime. Not the easiest thing to do, but allow yourself to have inquiries and wonder what would it look like if we did X. Play out different scenarios without feeling the pressure to immediately bring them into form. Take your time with that and invite the universe to be your partner because there's plenty of Pisces magic still to tap into, even though the sun is leaving. Mars is picking up, and that can be a nice activator of connection to divine information, angels, guides, divine inspiration. So happy creating, give yourself a little buffer for Mercury retrograde and eclipse season if you need to work through some tense conversations and misunderstandings. That is one thing you should expedite this week because it'll be a lot easier to talk about before eclipse season and before Mercury goes retrograde. So especially if you go in gently, compassionately, using Venus and Saturn and Pisces instead of the headstrong, fiery Aries energy, which can be a bit abrupt, but it can also provide the courage that you need to get in there and have the talk. All right, back next week to talk eclipses, and have a great week, everyone.
As always, thanks for listening. You can discover more of your star power at astrocell.com and be sure to follow us on social at AstroTwins. Join us next time for more cosmic fun.